You are joining us on NewsX Influencer A-List. For today's episode, we have with us none other than Suhani Shah and David Nobo, India's most sought-after illusionists. You heard that right. Please welcome Suhani and David for a magical weekend on NewsX. Listen in to this exclusive conversation with them.
A mentalist disrupting the magic space in India.
It is subgenre of magic. So you can also call me a magician, and then as a magician, I expertise more as a mentalist.
She can read your mind with remarkable accuracy.
It's very important to be thoughtful of what we are putting out as an influencer because we hold a huge responsibility.
NewsX Influencer A-List proudly recognizes Suhani Shah for influence in the art of illusion.
Hello and welcome. You're joining us on NewsX Influencer A-List. I'm Parati Bhanot, and with us today is a very special guest. She's known as a mentalist and she can read your mind. And I kid you not, Suhani Shah is with us on the broadcast today and on the show. Suhani, first of all, welcome to the show and thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Parati, for having me. I'm looking forward to this interview.
All right. So why don't you begin by telling us, Suhani, what is a mentalist? What do you do out there on the internet? Tell us about your show a little bit.
Oh, I'm glad you asked this question because a lot of times I tell people a mentalist and they're like, what? And, it's like people don't even understand. This is more in India where the mentalist profession is not too popular. So if I have to explain it in the extreme layman's language, I would compare it to dancing. Like, you have dance and then you have various forms of dancing like Kuchipudi, Salsa, Bharatanatyam, Contemporary, and so on. Similarly, there is magic, which is the parent category. And it has various genres like there is illusion, there is escapology, street magic, parlor magic. Similarly, there is mentalism. So it is subgenre of magic. So you can also call me a magician. And then as a magician, I expertise more as a mentalist. And various genres of magic use different props, different ways of impressing or let's say mesmerizing people, putting them into an awe of how did that happen.
Yeah.
In mentalism, there are no props. There is no boxes. There are no cards. There are no big stage shows like setups. It's just the mentalist and the audience, and the prop becomes like people and their minds. So everything is related to their mind, their thoughts, influencing them, getting information out of their minds. So things like that. So mentalist is a magician who does magic without props, just by trying to read or giving an illusion of reading people's minds, influencing them, getting information out of them, and things like that.
So did you learn this, Suhani? Is there a professional training to be a mentalist? How does this work?
Okay, so that's very interesting because I haven't learned it from anywhere. But how it started for me was, I started performing magic in general, like all genres. Yeah. I started performing magic when I was 7 years old. Wow. So it's been like more than 2 decades now that happened. And as in the process of starting doing stage shows, when I did a stage show, it was a mix of all the genres. It also had like a bit of mentalism, a bit of escapology, a bit of illusion. It was like mixed. So I was doing a proper stage show, which had a mix of everything. And, city to city, we used to travel.
Yeah.
And few years back, I realized that was too much. Like 2 trucks of goods and 30 people to assist me. And if I wanted to get into the corporate sector and, level up my game, I need to do something more because stand-up comedy had taken over the country. So I realized that it's important to capitalize on that as well. So what I did was, from an illusionist, I started to adapt into mentalism. And I did an entire show of mentalism and I put up my videos and the videos went viral. So that happened. So it was never like a formal training that I've taken for anything. Okay. In terms of magic, and it just happened, like my transformation. It was very slow. To turn from an illusionist to a mentalist. Took a lot of time, a lot of mistakes on stage, off stage. A lot of that happened, but then 2017 was the time I turned into a mentalist, and then I was like, this is what I'm going to do now. This is what I love doing the most.
I want to ask you 2 things then, Suhani. Firstly, as a woman content creator, and not to put focus on this or anything, I just want to understand from you what it's like to be a woman content creator out there, right? What are the certain disadvantages and advantages that you see? What are the challenges that you're facing or that you faced earlier?
Okay, I'm going to be really blunt and candid over here. If I have to say disadvantages, there have definitely been a lot. In fact, even before starting a live streaming on YouTube and thinking, should I take up the digital space? I was very worried, thinking I'll be trolled. I'll be like, people will say things to me. What am I going to wear? How am I going to look? Because I don't know what people may start commenting on, and I come from a very protective space. So that worry was there. But when I did start, there was a lot of love. I mean, I think I was overthinking about the negativity, but there was a lot of the love that came in. So I think a lot of times it's a projection of what you are doing. But I will not only say that. It was not that I never got any negativity. What used to happen is if I make a little mistake, like just a very tiny thing, it was blown out of proportion. If I'm doing a game, I have received so many comments saying, "Arey ladki gaming nahi kar sakti, tu gaming kyun kar rahi hai? It's not meant for you." And if you don't play well, it's even worse. You're not. What I realized was, which I still do till today. It's been a year. It's 1 million subscribers on YouTube, but till today, I have seen that I am not allowed to make mistakes. Because one mistake, and I have seen my streamers from the other gender, and if they do it, it's just taken as fun, as like, "Arey fuck yaar, kya farak padta hai yaar, ye to acha hi hai." Things, but if I do it, it's like, "Bola tha na streaming nahi karni, kisne bola hai, she's a noob," and things like that do come in. So yes, I'm not allowed to make mistakes, although I'm still learning and being more thick skinned. Ke chalega, bolne do jo bolna hai, but it still affects you at one point. That's one. Secondly, when you open your DMs, you open your messages, there will be 100 good messages, but there will be these 3 2 people who will be putting on inappropriate comments. No, like they would not be appropriate. You don't want to read them first thing in the morning. So that's what I have learned, to not, pay attention to them, or not even read them in the morning first place when I'm not in a good space. A lot is spoken about. For me, it has not happened, but I know my other female creators have got to a point where they have got threats for things that are not right. They could be at any level. I don't want to get into the details of what level they could be, but they have got those just for being opinionated, just for putting out their views strongly. So these things are there. But I feel it's just a reflection of our culture. And the more the women come out, face these things and be vocal about it, the more space they'll be creating for themselves, safer space. Because currently, I also feel there are more, if I see my stats, and if I say internet stats, it definitely shows that there are more men than women on the internet.
Absolutely, correct. Yeah.
So I think that needs to change. The more women creators will come, the more women will also come. I feel it's a slower process, but I think it'll happen in its own time. Yeah. But these are the cons. But there are also some benefits. There are a lot of benefits, because when I stream, there are
before you come to benefits, can I just ask you one more thing? What is it like being a woman magician? Because when we think magician, we think there's going to be an uncle that's going to come and perform a magic trick and take out a bunny out of a hat, right? What is it like being a woman magician?
You so correctly said, because the moment you say magician, nobody ever thinks of a woman. And I don't know why. It's so crazy. It's an identity threat to me. I just feel like, why? But very honestly, I did not think of this till a few years back, when another journalist had asked me about such a question of how does it feel like being, and I'm like, oh, damn, I'm the only female. It just felt like that. But I had not focused, probably because I was not brought up that way. I was never told that you are only female. My parents never looked at me that way. I'm not massively involved in the Indian magic community, so I did not know what's the scene there. But again, pros and cons. There are a lot of benefits, because any time people want a female magician, there's just one person to look at. So that was like very easy to get that contact. But very few people look at that though. I never thought of pros and cons there, really. Of course, I couldn't socialize a lot. I couldn't, I don't smoke or drink. So after a corporate show, I can't go and chill with the client in the room, or I can't have a dinner, or I can't go out. And there were a few things that I had to be very careful of. The way people spoke to us, me and my manager both, she's also like, even I have a female manager, so both of us had to be very careful, and things like, because industry is like, you get an email and you just have to go, you get email, you get paid, and you just have to go, you don't know who you're going to meet. So yes, those things happen. I think, again, I have to keep my guards up, I keep myself safe, and it's, again, pros and cons. So you cannot socialize a lot, you cannot do this, but then you also get good people, you meet them, you grow. I never really thought of it till few years ago when it was pointed out to me, and I was like, yeah, so if I don't focus, I don't think even people focus, and I know what I have to do. I just focus on my craft, my work.
You're dominating the space, right? So it's a win-win any which ways.
I never thought of it that way, but thank you. But yeah, I'm just doing what I like to do, Paridhi, to be very honest. I'm not focusing on anything else. I go, I do my show. A lot of times I don't even understand when people are talking to me in a way that's inappropriate, and I'm like, okay, and then I'm like, just go to my room. So it's like, in your mind, a lot of times, that if you don't focus, you don't see it also. And I think I just like to keep
and that
it.
happens with all of us, right? I mean, as a woman, I would agree with that, because you're not constantly thinking that somebody comes from an ill place, right? So you just take their words for what they are, and then eventually you realize, oh, but in hindsight, that was not appropriate. Like, I should have called that out. That
Correct. That happens quite late, because you are in a workspace and you are just in a work mode, and you're just being in your you're so focused in what you are doing, and meeting people in a space that, okay, they're coming to either appreciate you or tell you what needs to be done in their performance and things like that.
Absolutely.
And very later you realize, oh damn, that wasn't what he was supposed to say, or things like that. But again, initially it used to bother me, very honestly, but now I'm like, let's just focus and move on. Let not anything stop you.
All right. So before we let you go, Suhani and I've run out of time, so I need to wrap this up very quickly. What do you think content creators such as yourself, that are in the magic space, what do you think you need right now? What is the one thing, if, through the television medium you could put out there, what do you think you guys lack, and what do you think the community needs right now?
Needs, I think, okay, I have to think over this in terms of, you're talking about what the digital space need?
Just the community in general. So it
as magician,
it could be an influencer community, it could be the magician community. What do you think is needed? What do you think is the need of the hour for the influencer or magician community right now?
Okay, I think if I say what is needed is, I think it's very important to create a very safe space on the internet. I'm speaking more from an influencer perspective, because I think actually not even as an influencer perspective, as a person on the internet space, on the digital, it's everybody. There are because there are kids who are too exposed to internet, that are out there. So creating a safe space on the internet, I think is an extreme need of the hour. Be it for entertainment field, be it for the news, be it for any place. People who are commenting need to be kinder. People who are creating content need to be more careful of, there are a lot of clickbaity stuff that they create. They put up those very fascinating and a very shocking thumbnails out there to attract more viewers. I think it's very important to be wise. It's very important to be thoughtful of what we are putting out as an influencer, because we hold a huge responsibility. And as a commentator also, it's very important for us to be kinder and wise, because people are working very hard to create content. It takes, it could be you having a bad day, or you feeling lonely and you putting out bad negative comments out there. So I think all in all, the influencers as well as the comment viewers need to be more wiser and create a more safer space on the internet. I think that is something that's needed, not just for influencers, but for everybody, because internet is just going to grow more.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Suhani, this has been a very, very fascinating conversation. Thank you so much for joining us on NewsX Influencer A-List, and more power to you and more power to the work that you do.
Thank you, Paridhi. Thank you.
A modern-day magician and illusionist.
I play around with illusions that are both optical as visual as well as psychological.
His tricks will leave you spellbound.
Best thing about being able to do magic virtually is it is interactive.
NewsX Influencer A-List proudly recognizes David Nobo for influence in the art of illusion.
Hello and welcome. You're joining us on NewsX Influencer A-List. I'm Paridhi Bhanot, and joining us on the show today is David Nobo. Now, he's an illusionist, and he does magic for a living. Firstly, David, thank you so much for being with us on the show.
Thank you so much, Paridhi, for having me.
The pleasure is all ours, David. If you could just help us by understanding, what is it like being an illusionist? What is it that you do?
What is it like? So basically, what I do is tricks and effects. I'll tell you what. Let's cut the fluff. I am what they used to call a magician 15 years ago, but then thanks to people making magic cliche and expecting a magician to pull rabbits out of hats and flowers out of tins and things like that. So as soon as we decided to enter the corporate market, we decided to call ourselves illusionists, just to make magic great again.
Okay, and so what kind of illusions do you do? What is it that let's say we ask you to do a show for us. What can we expect from a David Nobo illusion show?
Well, you could expect a lot of interaction, a lot of mind reading, a lot of surprises, things appearing, disappearing, people coming up on stage, strange things happening to them, sometimes losing their memory, but yeah, things like that. So I play around with illusions that are both optical, as visual, as well as psychological. So I try to blend both of those together to create a slightly different form, a different brand of magic.
Okay, David, very interesting that you mentioned the stage. Now, after COVID, one thing that has become redundant is having a stage to perform on, right? Which I'm sure has also impacted how you perform your magic, how you do your magic quite literally, as well as metaphorically. Now, behind you, you have a very interesting set that we were just talking about. Tell us about that. Tell us about having, doing these illusion shows online, and what kind of a difference does it make, being physically out there on a stage versus virtual?
Okay, well, now something that I believe it is something that one of my, the people who I look up to, who is this magician from Las Vegas by the name of Jeff McBride, he says all the world's a stage, like what Shakespeare said. So you don't really need a stage for, I keep doing this because there's a lot of dual reality going on here. But then anyway, so you don't really need a stage or a platform to do magic. And I'll tell you what, so 20 years ago when I first started learning magic, I would come home from school, quaff down my lunch, and then rush into this very room where I had a little shoebox with all the different tricks and apparatus in it. And I would practice pretending to be on a stage and listening to the imaginary applause.
Yeah.
20 years later, I am back in this room with my little box of tricks, pretending to be on stage and listening to the imaginary applause just virtually. And this used to, like I said, it used to be my bedroom. So I had to get rid of my bed, do this entire setup. So I guess I've given performing in the bedroom a whole new meaning.
Yes, you have indeed. I want to ask you, when you started performing, full time, when you decided that you wanted to do this as a career, how viable is being an illusionist as a career option? Because I'm sure many viewers watching this would also want to, maybe experiment with it, might want to take it up as a career choice. Is it viable? Is it a feasible career option?
It is a feasible career option because that's what I have been doing for the last 15 years. And I would not lie by saying that, I have been sailing through COVID. No, I have not been sailing through COVID. It has been difficult. I have had to readjust a lot of things, but yeah, it is a very feasible career. In fact, not only being an illusionist, because it's not something that very many people are drawn to. Or rather, let's change that around. Let's say that magic does not really draw in too many people because for two reasons. One is the secret, which people think is the most important part of the effect, which is not, is often quite, what should I say? Uninteresting. It's not as interesting as the effect looks or what the audience sees looks. So that kind of disheartens people when they're getting in. Or it involves a lot of practice, which people are not really willing to put in the time, or they don't practice enough. They'll go out and do a trick. People will be like, okay, they won't get the reactions that they want, and they step back. So it's not only magic, but any art form or any any kind of extra curriculum that people do want to take up. So I believe if you want it enough, you are going to make it happen. You are going to like take a decision and make that decision the right decision. So that is something that I really believe.
Right. And
So,
then,
yeah.
so then, David, do you think?
So yeah.
So then, do you think, David, that going digital is going to be the future as far as even, let's say, being an illusionist is concerned? Because a lot of the content that is now being consumed is via the digital platform, right? Do you think the digital is the way forward? Is that something that you want to do and delve into full time?
Digital is part of the way forward, because what I feel is no matter how much COVID happens and how much any other pandemic or anything happens, nothing beats the human connection of a live show or performing one-on-one. But right now, with like going digital has been a blessing. It's like right now we are doing this digitally, which we would not have even thought about it maybe like a year ago. So I've been sitting here and I've done gigs for an audience in Australia. I have done gigs for a sari club in the UK, all from here, from this tiny little setup, a phone, a laptop, a ring light, and what used to be my bedroom. So as far as consuming content, which is something that I firmly believe in, creating art still and not content. So call yourself an artist still, not a content creator. Or
Absolutely.
An art creator. That's something that I believe in, because I feel that content is really overrated. Everybody wants to dance to that little song that kid was singing, which is okay. It's nice for the kid, but then what? That kind of disappears a year later. And then something like Binod, which was like a phenomenon, doesn't really make much sense, does it? So,
okay. I see where you're coming from. So then tell me, David, when, let's say, we talk about, being an illusionist, at least in India, as far as being an illusionist is concerned, what do you think artists such as yourself still require, or still need? Is it the fact that you need more people to recognize what you're doing? Is it the fact that more people need to understand the art itself? What is it that you think you need, and the all illusionists, in fact, in India are craving right now?
Well, they're craving gigs, audience, and money. But other than that, what I feel is there are a lot of magicians now. I don't mean to talk bad about my fraternity or my community, but there's something that I have noticed from the time I've gotten is that by default we want to crib. Oh, the government isn't doing anything for us. Oh, we are struggling because this is there. Oh, we are doing this is not happening because of so and so reason. But my thing is, why are you relying on these external factors? What are you doing? So I would say it's like a lot of illusionists who are friends of mine and who are people who I consult for have actually taken their virtual shows and they have exploded on the scene with the virtual shows, because it's something new, it's something different. And the best thing about being able to do magic virtually is it is interactive. That both of us can actually do something together. So what I feel is that a lot of people need, or a lot of magicians need to up their game. They need to understand their audiences. And classics of magic are classics for a reason. But you need to bring them and give them a context which people relate to. You need to connect with them instead of, because if you would see a guy in a top hat making birds appear, you'd probably go, but then a couple of years ago, an act from Britain's Got Talent went viral. A guy called Darcy Oak made pulling birds from thin air cool again. So it was back there, it was contextual. So I believe that moving with the times, even it's better to be a little ahead of your time than to be a little behind your time. So, yeah.
All right, David, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on Influencer A-List, and more power to you. Keep doing your illusions and creating magic.
Thanks so much, Parithi. It's been a pleasure to be part of this, and I hope to connect in person sometime soon and share some magic.
Absolutely.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.